Wendy, thank you so much for having us today. We are out at Westway Farms out near Didsbury, which is your home.
Yep.
And so we're super excited. This is one of the stops on our Alberta farm trip road visits, I guess. We're sitting out in the field today with surrounded by the girls and the babies.
Yep.
And we're here to learn a little bit more about Westway Farms, more about your family and what you do and your role within Alberta agriculture.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning. So tell us about the farm. So tell us about Westway Farms.
Okay, well, we are a mixed grain and cattle operation. We have a cow herd of about 400 mama cows. They're primarily purebred Simmental, and we do have some purebred Angus. So we have an annual bull sale every March where we sell bulls to fellow producers. And then we have a small backgrounding and finishing feedlot. So we finish our own calves that, you know, don't make it into the mama cow herd or to the bull sale. So that's really cool because we get to see, you know, how our genetics work from birth, weaning, and all the way, you know, to finish, to see, you know, what genetics are working and what genetics maybe aren't working, you know, on that beef production side. So on the grain operation, we farm some grain land and we have a seed farm. So we stay busy, you know, during seeding and spraying and harvest on that side of the farm.
And so let's unpack that a little bit and say, okay, so the farm, when did the farm get started?
This farm started in 1978. My dad bought the home quarter and built it up to what it is now, which is really cool. He's, you know, I'm really proud of him for what he's done and what he's built up, you know, for us to keep farming. It's really like a success, you know. He's done so much. So he bought the home quarter in 1978 and started, you know, with a few cows and farming a bit, and has just kind of grown and grown. So him and my mom worked full-time on the farm kind of, you know, since she graduated university. And they've done that. They had 4 kids. And we're all actively involved in 4-H and sports, and they stayed super busy, you know, with us and running around with us trying to, you know, play hockey or soccer or, you know, school or whatever it was, and cattle shows and, you know, extracurricular activities, all while farming and calving cows and harvest. And now looking back, I don't even know how they did it. But here we are, and I farm full-time here. I work full-time here. I graduated at U of S with an ag business degree. And my brother works on the farm full-time as well, and my brother-in-law. So us and our team work year-round. We stay busy every season.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what generation of farmer are you?
I'm a 5th generation farmer.
Okay.
My mom and her dad and grandpa, they farmed just a mile and a half down the road from where the farm is today. And my dad's grandpa farmed in Manitoba by Dauphin. Yeah.
Okay. So it's in the blood. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So now we've got, let's talk a little bit about the grain side. So what are you growing? What's typical every year?
We grow peas, wheat, barley, canola, and oats.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many acres do you have that you seed each year?
About 7,000 around that number. So that includes, you know, silage and cow feed. And then we grow and sell seed to fellow producers, so that includes our seed acres as well. Okay, so
I want to talk to you about that a little bit about that. For a lot of our viewers, when it comes, you know, to education and being removed a little bit from agriculture, what does that mean that you're growing seeds for other producers?
So in order to grow grain, you need to, you know, have a seed to grow that plant to make grain. So we have smaller fields and larger fields of seed that has to go through the certifications, and, you know, the seed has to pass inspection in order to qualify as a certified seed to sell. So it involves a little more work. Sometimes we have to rogue if a field somehow got contaminated with another seed or the variety just has a few flaws, we'll have to go in by hand and pick, you know, whether it be a few heads of barley in a wheat plot. We have to go and pick those barleys out by hand, you know, so it's clean and it's just that one seed.
Okay.
Yeah, so people that are just grain farms, which, you know, we grain farm as well, they would buy seed from seed farmers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do they buy direct from you? Or,
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah, so we have a seed cleaning plant and a seed business. So we, after harvest, we start cleaning seed to sell in the springtime.
Okay.
Yeah, so fellow producers will come and buy seed from us to grow crops.
Okay.
Yeah, so we sell peas, oats, wheat, and barley.
And when you clean them, what does that mean?
When you clean the seed, you're cleaning out, you know, dirt, or say you have some oats or canola, a little bit contaminated in some of your seed. That cleaning plant takes all of it out, so then it's just a clean barley seed.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it has to pass germination tests and all that stuff, so you know it's gonna grow. I'm involved a lot on the roguing end of things, so we'll grow seed in like 5-acre plots or 10 acres. So basically, like, we will grow a seed variety that hasn't been multiplied yet.
Okay.
So, you know, like, we're the first step basically from the lab to here.
Okay.
And then we grow a 5-acre plot, and then the next year we'll grow a field. You know, so we're basically like, okay, how is this variety doing on a farm scale level?
Okay.
You know, how is it yielding? You know, how is the grain quality looking? Is this going to be a seed variety that's going to move wheat production in the right way?
Oh, excellent. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a test and research
It is,
as you go.
yeah. So
Okay.
you really are learning a lot about, you know, feed barley varieties and all the different varieties of wheat, you know. And so you're kind of doing education before you're selling it to other guys and saying, hey, like, this is a great malt barley variety. It's great in our area, you know, for our shorter days. It's yielding really good. I think it's going to be, you know, take over this variety you were growing before.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So there's some risk on your part for doing that, because you could have that particular seed that doesn't do well. It doesn't perform.
Yeah, and every year is different, obviously.
Right.
Like, you know, one year we grew this one variety of wheat one year that was great. It was like great standability, super high yielding, and on that specific year it was really dry and hot. So we're getting that wheat off a little bit earlier, you know, and then say the following year it's wetter, it's not as dry. You know, we did have those years with the fires and the smoke. It really affected growing days, and you know, you're waiting and waiting on that wheat variety. So the one year you're thinking, wow, this is really great, and then the next year you're like, you know what, this is actually too late for our area.
Okay.
So it really depends on the year, and you really have to, you know, think about those small factors that are going to affect, you know, the growing season and how early maturing plants are. So we're in an area where we want an early maturing variety, you know, with good yield and good standability. Yeah.
Excellent. So, okay, so that's super. Then we move over to the cattle side, to the livestock side.
Yep.
And you guys do a lot of very specific bloodlines that you're working with. So talk a little bit about that. You've got the Simmentals and you've got the Angus.
Yeah, so we have the purebred Simmentals, which is basically majority of our cow herd. We have a small group of Angus cows, and what we like to do is combine those two genetics to make a Sim Angus cross. We think that there's a lot of value in the bull market for guys having that half-blood cross to put on their commercial cows. And they're really great females. You're kind of taking the best of both breeds and combining them into one. So we're very active in, you know, selecting bulls each spring that are going to move us forward in genetics. So we're looking for, you know, good-footed bulls and cows, good milking ability, good udders, good structure, and just cows that have a lot of longevity and are going to last good. So each year during breeding season, which is April for us, we calve our mother cows out in January and February. We AI our bred heifer, our heifers who become bred heifers, and then they go with a bull. So we're breeding those heifers to a bull that has good calving ability, so we don't have to worry about any calving issues come, you know, January and February, as they're going to be first-time mothers. You want that process to be as smooth and easy as possible for them. And then we have a select elite group of cows that we work with in flushing them. So we take eggs out of them to put in other cows to increase those genetics. So they're kind of the best of the best. And you know, that's where our top end bulls or our top end females will come from, those cows. So we have a select group of cows that we call recipient cows. They get an embryo put into them, so it's called embryo transplant work. We have a vet come and do that for us. He puts the egg into a cow. It's a big program, and they get synced up together, and it's a very, you know, precise ordeal that, you know, a lot of fellow purebred producers do. And then we artificially inseminate a large group of cows, so we can breed our cows to the best possible genetics that we can get our hands on.
Fascinating. So talk about in your case, you've got the Simmentals and the Angus, and so why you mentioned you sort of crossbred some of those for the best qualities. What are the high qualities of both that you feel bring into that one?
So I guess depending on every breed, it's different. You know, all these purebred breeds, there's a huge list of them. People specialize in those breeds and sell their bulls to commercial producers to, you know, have a 2-way or a 3-way or a 4-way cross calf. So that's a multi-breed calf.
Okay. That's
gonna really be utilized in the feedlot. So the feedlot cattle that are really, you know, doing well, that they're yielding good and they're grading really well, are typically 3-way cross cattle. So they have a touch of, say, Simmental, Angus, and Charolais.
Okay.
So what we're doing, because you can register half-blood Simmental cows in the Simmental Association, so we're utilizing that percentage program because we still can register them and, you know, track their genetics, track their EPDs, which is a number profile that gives you a bunch of data on their milk and their calving ability and their weaning and yearling ability. So the Angus breed is a mothering, a very, like, you know, it's a very common breed. The grading is really good in the Angus cattle. They're an easy doing breed that are very feed efficient. The udder and milk quality is really good. The Simmental breed is kind of a power breed. They're more of a terminal breed. They got lots of bone. They're bigger framed. They're good footed, and you know, when you combine those, you get a pretty really nice cow that's good uddered. She's good footed. She's sound, and kind of is making. She's got that extra substance from Simmental, but you know, is going to hopefully grade a little bit better versus just that straight Simmental, you know, cross. So we have these Sim Anguses, bulls or females that are reproducing in our herd, or we're selling Sim Angus bulls, you know, that a guy can use, say, on his Charolais calves or his Sim Angus cross calves, or, you know, whatever that is, and then he's getting that 3-way cross or his 4-way cross. So kind of, yeah. So every breed kind of has its, you know, purpose. So by crossing them, we're getting these very useful cattle or useful steers or heifers in the feedlot that are yielding good, grading good, and, you know, lasting.
Interesting.
So it's taking beef production kind of to another level.
You mentioned finishing your cattle. So can you explain to us, what does that mean?
Okay, so finishing your cattle is basically taking your steer or heifer from weaning. That's when they come off the mother cow. They get put into a backgrounding lot where they go on feed, and then they go on to a finishing ration, which ultimately finishes them to go to slaughter and to be carcass animal, and that's where, you know, our beef comes from, the hamburger, the steaks, the roasts, etc. So you finish here. Yep. Yes. Got it. So we finish our own cattle. So, you know, we see our cattle in the feedlot from coming off their mom all the way to going to the kill plant, and, like, you know, what mothers are still, you know, capitalizing on, you know, being able to raise an animal that's doing good in the feedlot, and what sires So what sires is the father, what fathers, you know, what sire group is doing a good job in the feedlot.
Which is tremendous, because again, then when you're looking at breeding and the specifics, you get to see the entire process.
Yeah.
And then make adjustments as needed.
Yeah,
right?
So it is really neat, because a lot of cow-calf producers, they sell their calves in the fall and, you know, maybe like lose touch with how those cattle did in the feedlot and how did they finish. You know, so we have a really unique opportunity to see how are our cattle doing in the feedlot, and how are our bulls working in the feedlot, because ultimately, you know, cow-calf producers supply their calves to the feedlots to feed and to finish to make beef, and that's, you know, the full circle. You know, so if we don't know how our genetics are doing in the feedlot, you know, are we doing our part?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one more thought I had was when you were talking about your bull and your sale in March, who generally buys your bulls? Where are they going? Are they staying in Alberta? Are they going across the world? What's the trip? So
at our bull sale in March, we have quite a few producers that are local to us that use our bulls, which is awesome to see. And we do have some bulls that will go into Saskatchewan, Manitoba, sometimes BC, and we have sold a few bulls to the States. But primarily they stay pretty local, which is nice because we can go out and see, you know, how those bulls are doing, how their calves are looking. So that's really nice to see.
Yeah, it sounds like your family, you've been farming for many, many years, and it sounds like you guys are really take the time to understand and research, right? Everything that you do from you know, from the grain to the cattle, you're always improving. You're always looking at how to make things more efficient, more effective, a better quality product for Albertans and Canadians.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable.
Yeah, and ultimately that's our goal, is how can we be efficient, sustainable, effective by making the best product possible, and just maintaining those customer and business partnership relationships.
Yeah, Alberta raised.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's awesome.